What's up guys, gals, and all you awesome minions and gamers of different shapes and sizes? It is me, Josh, aka Noir Proxy, bringing you some Battlefield 1 gameplay on the PC. This is the open beta, which is available to everyone, not just on the PC, but also on the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One. You can get in on this now and play it, and just look how pretty it is. It's so unusual because initially, I had no interest whatsoever when it came to Battlefield 1. I love my more modern day shooters, or even more sci-fi. You know that I love it more when it's kind of like more pushed into escapism of the future, where it doesn't really feel like it's our world, or it could be something a little bit different. You know, like, I just don't like it when it's kind of like revisiting times that actually kind of happened. Maybe I have this issue with kind of like glorifying events of the world and things. You know, I don't really like those things generally, and so I prefer it when video games are actually about creative stories, where it's not actually about people who actually died in these kind of events. But either way, it's this really awesome thing though that took me by surprise. I did not expect to fall in love with Battlefield 1. I have loved Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. I played a little bit of 1942, and I really liked 2142, I think it was called. Loved all of the Battlefield games, and the fantastic thing is that this has actually kind of brought my love back into World War I/World War II type, you know, aimed games, which is different because I generally have no interest in them. I mean, like, the last game that I really liked of that type of thing was Medal of Honor Allied Assault. You may remember that was the first game we got to run up at Omaha Beach. It was so cool, so epic, and it's one of those things where it's kind of like reliving that love again, which is fantastic. And this is a multiplayer game. It's a multiplayer game. You didn't even need that narrative to it, but the way the game plays out, the way that the matches work, just kind of adds that little bit of its own narrative through the gameplay, and I really appreciate that. We are playing Rush right here, which is one of the smaller game modes. You know, you notice it as a very popular mode in, say, Bad Company, where you kind of rush to enemy checkpoints. You had one team attacking, one team defending, and they had to try and take the two objectives, and they push, and then they'd take more objectives. As you can see on the map, look, you can do that. You gotta try and take A and B, plant the bombs, try and defend them, then blow them up, and the defending team has to look after them and make sure they don't blow up and things like that. Really cool, really epic. It has a smaller player count, so it's not this whole massive 64-player thing, but it's still quite big, it's still quite epic, and that's the main thing. Like, I assume, like, because of this very open map that they've given us through the open beta, this is the only map you can play, which is the desert, and this is a very small chunk of the Conquest version, because the Conquest version is this massive open space. You have all these other different areas. There's like a giant city little area, like village you can go to. There's even the open desert you can actually go into as well, and there's a base there. But in the Rush version, which is what you're seeing here, it's more of this little progressive through these ruins, and you do go into a little bit of a town entrance as well right at the end. But really cool, really epic, nicely designed, really like it, especially in Rush. It seems a little bit more built for Rush, maybe if, like, you do different areas. So say if you did do just the desert bit, that'd be kind of cool, where it's like open space and stuff, or if you do it in just like the little village town bit, or just this bit here, like, it just works really well, while in the Conquest one, it's so open, it's so catered towards 64 players, but really fun. As I said, I have been having such a good time, quite addicted to it too, which is very different for me for a multiplayer game, because generally I don't really stick to multiplayer games for very long, as you know. Like, I like to spotlight them, I love to show gameplay for them, but I've just been having some really good times while playing this. We're actually in a tank right now, which is a one-man tank, which is very different for Battlefield, because generally you would have to, like, team up with people in tanks, and you have someone on the turret, someone would be on, like, little machine gun, but in this, you can actually have, like, your own singular tank. But the cool thing is, and it's something that I was kind of worried about, was that Battlefield 1 wouldn't really have that kind of content in its vehicles, its weapons, to kind of, you know, give the player lots of variety. Now, in Battlefield 1's open beta, there aren't that many weapons. You can actually level up your character and unlock new kits and stuff like that, and there are other weapons to unlock, but initially I thought to myself, oh, well, World War I didn't really have that many guns. Like, we've seen them in, say, like, Medal of Honor, again, with, like, the Garand, or, say, like, in Call of Duty and things, and there's always been, like, a few. Look at the explosions, it's just so epic, and it's just so pretty. This is ultra settings on the PC, by the way, doing my 980 some real pushing here. You can destroy the environment, as you saw there. Pillars can fall, they can kill players. There's just so much destructibility, which is something in the Battlefield name. It's something that we expect now, but it's just so pretty in Battlefield 1. As you can see, this is the culmination of everything that we've hoped to see in Battlefield, and they do it so well, so majestically, because other issues we've had is that Battlefield has had little bits of iffy visuals and things, and it seems like DICE have really gone all out for Battlefield 1, and I'm really proud of them. I can say very well done indeed. We've taken the first set of objectives here, but as I was saying, about weapons, about content, when it comes to like World War I or even World War II, there's only so many guns you can spotlight. Like now in this day and age, we have different like weapon creators and everything like that, and they actually are creating different guns every single day, every single month, every year. We're seeing so many different types of prototype stuff, and they all get featured in these more modern shooters, while in World War I and such, there was only a very specific kind of military issued weapons, like say like a Thompson or, you know, the Browning handgun and stuff like that. And so it was that kind of worry of, is there going to be enough content, enough weapons, enough unlocks for players to actually enjoy? And the great thing is that they've actually implemented it very well, where there's around 10 kits per player, or should I say class per player class. So like medic, assault, support and such. And so you do have that thing where there is actually a lot to unlock, but also the guns just like work really well where you feel happy just using them, and they're also not too overpowered. I am doing really well in this tank. This should just be called Tank Day. This match is so freaking epic, and I highly recommend you stay for the ending of it, because as you may notice, we're doing like really well. We're like whooping ass, we're blowing up this weird like hilltop, which can actually be fully mounted on, so you can have loads of different players all on that little hilltop sniping, doing all that kind of stuff. Really cool, really epic. Something that actually really surprised me is that there are no rocket launchers from what I've seen in this, or bazookas I guess if in this day and age, which I kind of liked, because something that really annoyed me about Battlefield 3 and 4 was the inclusion of rocket launchers, which obviously made sense because, you know, those things are actually in this day and age, you know, not obviously maybe in World War I and stuff, but it was this thing where it kind of made like vehicles feel a little bit, I don't know, like very short in their use. But what they've ended up doing is they've made it so that ground troops can now actually get up close and personal, have a little bit more of a stand against the tanks. It has that kind of like Saving Private Ryan feel, you know, at the end of Saving Private Ryan, where they kind of have those explosives and the sticky socks and stuff, and you have to throw the grenades and blow up the tank and stuff like that. You actually have to do that kind of thing now, and I really like that. I love that it's all about more kind of pushing the play, not to sit at a distance, but get up close and personal, even if you are a small, little, squishy man going against the Goliath, the behemoth of a tank. It just is really cool, and it has that kind of satisfaction to it. If you see my gameplay montage, which I posted up yesterday, there is a bit where I get off a horse and I just run up to this tank and I blow it up, and the explosion like blows my hair back, and I just jump in victory. You have those moments where it just feels so epic, so awesome, because you did that. It's not a thing of, oh, I just fired and forget a rocket launcher, a little noob tube, and that was it. It doesn't have that kind of feeling because you're actually blowing these things up face to face, and I thought it was really, really cool. We're actually taking one of my own objectives here, which is really awesome, because it seemed like my team weren't really pushing the objectives. I thought, well, I'll do it then. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it. We're actually with a one-on-one with a tank as well, trying to take down players. The cool thing about these little one-man tanks and other tanks as well is that they actually have two settings when it comes to their shells. You have the standard kind of like anti-vehicular kind of shell, and then you have an anti-infantry one, which is more like a shotgun, so you'll see like the little reticles kind of turn into a circle, which is when I'm going to shoot a player and things. And as you see there, look, it's actually really useful against infantry. And I am just mowing people down, just mowing. Look at these tanks, they look so bad. And I love that they're kind of like clumped together, you know, because this is like the era where tanks were introduced into actual wars. And it's this thing where they're so bulky, they're so, like, they just look like cardboard boxes with wheels, you know. It looks like some kids have like made it together and just playing in their backyard. It kind of has that vibe to it, you know. But it's really awesome just knowing that you're in this like really clunky kind of thing that they had to mash together in this like time and put it out there in the field. And you can feel, look at the explosions again. The explosion effects are really nicely done. I have not looked on the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One version to see what the visuals are like, but I wanted to look at the smoke, just like the fire. Fire is really hard to do in video games, but obviously as visuals progress and video games progress and evolve, we're seeing that kind of those effects get really well done, and even just like firing from a tank turret is just like the effects and the smoke and the particles are just crazy, and it just adds to that immersion. Especially with like, say, the sound effects of just the tank itself moving and hearing that kind of like clickety clack of the tank, you know, kind of like traps and stuff like that. It feels so cool, and it kind of just makes you feel like you are actually in this kind of thing. And that's something very cool for me, but also very surprising in my own enjoyment of like a pre-event that has actually happened in the real world. Because even though I played, say, like Modern Warfare, and I know loads of people love, say, like Call of Duty 4 and stuff, it was very grounded in our own world, and it was something. This guy here is doesn't even know how to take me down. He has a pistol, and I'm trying to shoot him. He has no explosives, so we're just kind of having this, like, he's just like grinding up against me like some kind of Nicki Minaj. He does die, thankfully. But that happened. Another thing to notice actually as well is that you don't actually have engineers in this game, so you don't have a dude coming up to you with like a blowtorch to fix your tank. You don't actually fix your tank by just pressing X while in the tank. It stops you from firing, but it means that you can actually look after yourself without having to depend on people to try and fix you, which I kind of like. So it means you can stay in the tank, it means that you can kind of switch between shooting and repairing, and it just kind of, it feels right. I just like that the vehicular driver can now actually fix their own vehicles. It's very long overdue, because one thing that we all know is that depending on your team in a Battlefield game when they're running around, even as medics, like I love to play as the medic, I love to focus on the medic role and actually heal and revive people, but a lot of people don't do that. I really don't know why they actually pick those kind of classes and then just don't heal their teams. Maybe they like the weapons or something, I'm not too sure. But we're actually holding down this bit here, and it's like this thing where it's just me in a tank, and I'm just like completely wiping out the enemy team. We're steamrolling, we're doing really well here. Remember that when you are playing Rush, it's this thing of, you may notice on the top of the screen you have the blue meter, and then you have the red meter. The red meter is the amount of objectives we need to take to actually push further into the map and take this match for our own. But then on the left side, which is the blue meter, which is our team, we have life tokens, and this has been a thing that has always happened in Battlefield. Basically, the attacking team has a set number of lives, and once they deplete, the defensive team wins, or if time runs out, if you can't take it all down, then that happens as well. And so you've got a lot working against you when you're in the attacking team, but you also get things like, look at that, that was just so awesome. I think we took down, was that a rider? I'm not too sure the distance, but oh, look at these gas grenades too. Really cool effect too, and there's this thing where once you go in those, you actually put like a gas mask on, and again, there's just this amount of utility and immersion in it, which is really fantastic. But yeah, we're just holding it down, this tank. I'm doing really well in the tank. I get an amazing kill streak while playing this game. Oh, and the final moments are so epic as well. Again, I highly recommend you stay around or just skip ahead. Check it out. Let me know what you think. Again, I'm getting a little bit like annoyed here that my team aren't doing anything, so I kind of just take the objective anyway. I'm like, you know what? I can multitask. I can take objectives. I can blow people up in tanks. It's my thing. I can do it. Oh dear, and again, look, they're trying to take my tank down, but they're not playing as any kind of like assault characters that can actually take it down, because the assault character has this explosive kind of anti-tank grenade, but you need to play as the assault to actually do that. And so I highly recommend, if you're going to go up against a tank, don't just randomly throw grenades, actually use the assault class, because the assault class is meant for that. And the great thing is that they've actually ended up balancing the classes where people are actually using those roles. They made it so then you're not so dependent by your teammates, but you're more kind of like, you know, you can just like stick in your own role. You know, like a medic is always going to be a medic, but you don't really have to feel like you depend on a medic to heal you. The healing rate is a lot faster now, and it's this thing where the medic is just kind of there as like a little bit of a tide turner if you need to be. I'm really disappointed here because I lose my tank and I've just got this like weird little pistol, and there's all these little dudes look on the cliffs. Look at this. It's this thing where there is just so much like versatility in your playstyle and how you play it. It's not just like one side versus one side. You can climb up those cliffs and you can like hold your own on these little bits and have that vertical gameplay, that horizontal gameplay, and it mixes it all up, and I really like that. So what we're going to be doing here is a little bit more ground combat, because at this certain point you do lose the ability to use tanks on the attacking team. So we're going to be trying to attack players. We're going to go for a little bit of a shovel attack here. That was amaze balls. Just randomly attacking with a shovel. You know, why not? I do die. I didn't really have much to go on there because I was obviously in their spawn area, but I think we're doing pretty well. As mentioned, we're kicking some ass, we're doing some progress, we're doing some pushing, and we've only got like 2 more objectives to take, and then we will win this. And now we're going to be pushing into the village area, and this is where the shizzle hits the fan. But as I was previously saying about these kind of games where I don't really like, you know, like games where they kind of like glorify things that have happened in real life. Again, this is where me playing as the medic, just throwing down those little medkits and things like that. You're going to see some sniper gameplay today as well, which is really badass, because one thing that I generally suck at is playing as the sniper, but I get some amazing headshots. You're going to see I like hold my own when playing this. I'm trying to mix it with all the gameplay and all the weapons and stuff so you can see what they all look like. Funnily enough, this looks like one of the guns in the Battlefront game, which is kind of interesting, because obviously something that the Star Wars universe did was they kind of like used real life guns and tried to tweak them a little bit so they looked a bit futuristic, but that is actually a gun that you can use in Battlefront, but obviously there's the lasers coming out of it and stuff like that. But either way, again, back on topic, it's this thing where generally I don't like to experience glorified games of previous real-world events, but there was just something really fun about this, and there was just something, like, it does have that grittiness here. We're going to be using that sniper rifle. Really glad there's a scope in this game. I was not expecting a scope. I didn't know they actually had scopes in this day and age. I thought they'd be using, like, like little pirate, like, spy glasses and stuff like that. You can also do a charging bayonet attack. You may have seen this in the gameplay montage as well. But, again, it just has that kind of fun immersion to it that I did not think would grab me, and it kind of goes against that kind of thing where I did not expect that. I did not expect to actually really enjoy the immersive gameplay that is provided here, because generally I kind of think if it tries to be too realistic, if it tries to be too gritty, then it kind of makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, not in a sense of like, ooh, blood and things like that, but it kind of makes me think of, and it's just the same thing with the Medal of Honor game, which was set in the modern era too, where in the multiplayer you had the Taliban versus the US Army, and I thought that was very weird for both sides. Not even Taliban, but like Iraq. It was like a little too soon in a sense, you know, how like you had like Iraqi forces fighting, and it's kind of like the same thing with like America versus Russia. Like, it's not a very like good way to go, especially with like modern era games. Look at that amazing headshot. That was really awesome. Boom shakalaka. Got an enemy player here gonna be using the pistol. Funnily enough, the pistol is very highly utilized in this game as well. Like, you may want to use an assault rifle, but the pistol is very powerful, but also very good as a secondary weapon if you run out of bullets. I've been switching to the pistol so many times, and I highly recommend using it while playing this game. Someone actually just tried to pop me there, but I have barely any health, but I will try and survive as best as I can. But again, it was this thing of I felt like it might have been a little bit irksome, because obviously these are people that might have actually, these kind of events might have actually happened just like it's happening in this multiplayer match. People have died, these things have happened, and obviously you can kind of think, well, yeah, get over it, but it's this thing of, I don't know, is it weird to think that, you know, like, we're playing as characters, we're killing people that were, you know, existed and fought for our own freedom and things like that, and it's just kind of unusual, but the game actually kind of, like, breaks that feeling. We've just been really fun and just really epic and action-packed, and it doesn't feel like it's trying to glorify it. It actually feels really well designed. It feels really, really awesome. Maybe I just had like a massive issue with the original modern Medal of Honor. I really didn't like the original Medal of Honor. I really hated the multiplayer mode. I really hated that it did that kind of two-sided thing, and it's a thing again, like as I mentioned, I never really liked the whole Russian versus America, you know, it was just kind of odd. Oh, pop, boom shakalaka, popping that pumpkin. Again, I'm generally really sucky with the sniper rifle, but I do really well here. We are trying to push. We're actually losing a little bit of our life tickets, but I'm trying to support my team. My team aren't really pushing. This is something that we're going to be noticing in this match, is that I'm doing a lot of the dirty work. I like to try and carry, I guess, in this one. Like, I'm like, oh, if you're not going to do it, then I'm going to do it. You're going to see that a lot coming from me in this. But, again, really like the game. I think it's really awesome. I highly recommend it. Using that pistol, even if I've got a sniper, I'm still going to be using that pistol. And just look at how like the bullet tracing and everything like that, like seeing those like shells like glow, and it just like, it has that epicness into it where you could be doing anything. You could be just watching this game unfold around you, and it's always so freaking epic, and it's something that I just, it's really hard for a game to, at any point, like even just like hiding behind here, like seeing bullets whiz by you and things, just because of the overall visual effects, just because of the overall everything, it's just so polished, it's so nice, it's just so well crafted. I mean, look, just like that tank like going through the fire and stuff, like just standing there, everything just seems like a photo moment, you know? And so maybe I like that. There's just so much working for it. I love the tanks, I love the gunplay, I love everything, and the guns don't feel like overpowered in their own uses. Like the assault rifle doesn't, oh, if you want to class it as that, or like the submachine gun that the assault character has, doesn't feel like overly powerful. Like, it's better to fire from the hip because it is more of like a submachine gun, and if you aim down sights, it's actually quite inaccurate, which I found kind of interesting. Or say, like, if you are using like the medic's kind of like semi-automatic rifle, then it's this thing where even though you're like firing shells over and over, there is like a bit of an accuracy learning curve to it, and I really appreciate that it kind of like makes you want to feel like you are missing shots, but it feels good to be missing shots. It kind of feels like an epic moment, and I just really appreciate that. For some reason, there's like a little bit of an invisible wall on that cliff there, and it like blocked my bullet, which was really annoying. I could have got killed there, which would have been awesome. I do have a little bit of a sniper battle here. There's this one guy like battling me. We've also got horses, as you can see in the game, which is really badass, and they're really fun to play as too. It's kind of hard shooting on them, but I've noticed that you can actually pull a sword out, and you can go all kind of like cavalier, charging, slicing people up. Oh, I do die. I did so well with that sniper, but now it might be time to try and push with an assault rifle or something like that. Oh my goodness, yeah, so we're going to be mixing up with the assault class, maybe? Here we go, so we're going to go in with the assault class, and again, the submachine gun that you do use as the assault class just has that kind of balancing thing where it doesn't feel like you can just go in there all Rambo and stuff. I am using the charge ability. You can actually run at players with your bayonet, and I tried to get across the map as fast as possible because they have this amazing defense going on the defending team. We have been doing an amazing amount of pushing, but now they're actually holding us back. We only have like, what, 20 so like life tickets left. My teams need to really work together. But you may notice in the back, look, we've got so many players sniping on the cliff, and we don't need that. We need people pushing in there, taking those objectives, but that is not really happening in this match. And so I'm going to try and pull it out of the bag. We have 26 life tokens. We're going to see what we can do. We do have a pony here. Do I want to ride the pony? I'm going to show you some pony gameplay. And again, it's this thing where you can use guns, you can use swords. When you do go on the horse, you use a semi-automatic rifle. You give up the assault rifle to kind of use that, but then when you get off the horse, you go back to your assault rifle, so don't worry about losing that gun. So, you know, you do have that thing where there is actually different variety of gameplay within using the horse, the pony, the, you know, the unicorn of World War Justice. And here's the semi-automatic, what would you call it? Well, what is it? More of a submachine gun, isn't it? Semi-automatic. What am I talking about? It's a submachine gun. I just love semi-automatic rifles. It's one of my favorite types of guns. Charging in here with that bayonet, just gunning down that turret position there as well, because that's the thing, that was hunkering everybody down. And so you want to make sure you can try and take those tactical points down. I'm also using the pistol here. Again, the pistol is very useful. Use it. It's extra bullets. It does really good damage. Hopefully they don't balance it. It feels really right in this game. Everything just feels really right. I don't see any need to kind of balance any of the guns in this game whatsoever. Everything just is like perfect to a T. And if the community complains about anything, I'm going to be really worried about it. Even the flamethrower just works really well, and I hope to show you some flamethrower gameplay in the future because I've been trying my best to get hold of the flamethrower. It's a very rare weapon that you have to pick up from crates, but it's so fun. You like don armor, you have to try and take it down. Now this is the final objective that we need to try and take, is this like bomb area, but there's also this kind of like stationary vehicle that has like a turret on it, and we're trying to use those assault grenades. I am getting gunned down here. We're trying to push the attack. We only have like about over a minute left to try and do this, but they're just killing us. They're wiping us out. They're actually unifying, because initially we were whooping. We were using that tank. We were cleaning everything out. 9 lives left, 1 minute and 16 seconds. What can we do? And remember that when you try and take the final objective, if you put that bomb down and you've even run out of lives, you've run out of time, as long as that bomb is on that objective and it's ticking down and it actually blows up, you will get more lives, you'll get more time to take the next objective. So fight with all you have. And that's what you're going to see here. You're going to see me trying so hard. Look at those particles just blow up. That destructibility, so awesome, so fun. Again, look, with aiming down the sights, did someone just fly over me? That was crazy. It's, again, just the explosions and the effects, everything just feels so immersive. And look, like how sandbags just roll down hills. There's just so many things working with it. We're going to try and do a over the front. Oh, look at that explosion. That was amazing. And that was me. You know, it's one of those things where you go, that was me. I did that. We got 0 seconds. Is that 0 seconds or is that 27 seconds? We've got 27 seconds. We've got to try and defend this bomb now. Can we do it? We got 2 lives. I'm trying to gun everybody down. I have barely any. Oh, I died. The bomb is about to blow up and this guy's going to disarm it. Can someone kill this guy? Can someone secure our own potential victory? We lost. That was so epic, so cool. 7 out of 10 objectives done, but I hope you've enjoyed this. It's been me, Josh, aka Noir Proxy, bringing you some Battlefield 1 open beta gameplay. Don't you think that was a cool map? That was so excellent, so epic. That could have gone either way. We did so amazing at the start, and then it just kind of turned the tides, and even held us against like, a more, like, player-counted team on the assault. But either way, I'll see you all next time. Ciao for now.